It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we got a beer called Cheers Bud. Now, if you've ever been to Wales, if you've ever gone north of the M4, up into Caerphilly and right up into Blaen y Gwent or up to Brecon, Merthyr Tydfil, Pontypridd, forgot some of the names then. I used to work all over the South Wales valleys. Then you probably went into a fish and chip shop or a garden centre, or you bought something, and you will be kind of very friendly response would be, "Cheers, bud. I'll buy this bottle opener off you. Okay, here's £1. Cheers, bud." And that's how it went. For an example. But it's based on Cheers, the 1980s TV series, which I never watched. Perhaps I should try and find it and watch it. But this is quite cheekily filmed in Barry. Filmed in Barry. So, tell me about the series, the Cheers TV series. It was filmed in all about pub, which is fantastic. I suppose Friends changed all that, didn't it? They changed the dynamic. It was all about coffee shops, and then how that, isn't it funny? I suppose we could talk about that. Let's get the beer out first and foremost. Changing times and how TV series can change, well, literally people's lives. 6.2% ABV New England IPA. There's a look at the beer. Described as hazy and pale, juice bomb with notes of grapefruit, citrus and berry. There we go. 4-finger white head. Good levels of carbonation. Hazy, straw-coloured beer, really. What I've noticed with the Vale of Glamorgan brewery beers, which is just probably a mile away that way from my house, they're quite carbonated numbers, they're quite carbonated beers, and I think that's got something to do with the fact that they've recently purchased the brewery. They're new owners, they probably changed brewers, they're probably getting used to their kit, and they've also moved brewery as well. They've moved from one industrial estate to another industrial estate, so let's hope that they can get on top of their kit, and maybe kind of what I've noticed with the beers I've reviewed from them is they've all created this great big head on the beers. So anyway, let's get the aroma on this one. Whoa, it smells good. Citrusy, a bit jammy, a little bit plum-like, grapefruit, orange peel, mango, fleshy blood orange. Smells good. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. That's probably their best beer. That's probably the best beer I've tried from these guys. That's rather good, actually. I talked about the carbonation earlier on. It's not as carbonated when you try the beer, when you taste the beer, as first thought. It looked like it was going to be a big carbonated bomb of a beer, but it's not too bad. It's quite tasty actually. It kind of almost got me daydreaming there. Almost forgot I was filming a video beer review. Like, you know, when you like kind of like stand at a bar and just daydream away when you got something good in your hand. It's a combination of it's like the old school flavours of a West Coast IPA. There's some grapefruit, there's some orange peel, there's some fleshy blood orange, but without that kind of raging bitterness you get from a West Coast IPA. It's quite calm. It's definitely kind of like New England IPA in the way that it's not so bitter. In fact, it only has a little bit of bitterness. And that's the difference between West Coast IPAs having massive bitterness and New England IPAs that really don't have much bitterness at all. It's that, again, everything in life is a balance, isn't it? One thing's bitter, another thing's not so bitter. It's good. It's good, this. So I'm going to rate it, and then I'm going to talk to you about how the TV can really change your life. So it looks good, it smells good, it tastes good. I get that last drop in. Yes. There you go, look at that. Now it's looking more like a New England now, isn't it? Nice and hazy. Amber in colour. Cloudy, I say kind of like pillowy, cloud-like head. That's their best beer. If I was to buy any beers from this brewery, I'd probably buy the rest, because the rest are okay, they're pretty good. I've got like the Jackson's Oyster IPA, that was pretty nice. But this is the best beer from these guys. This is a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Now, yeah, so most of us got TVs these days, don't we? We're all watching the television, and it can kind of shape, and it's definitely shaping, and there is a concern from me in this next sentence, if you like, and that is kind of where we are now, 2024. I'm watching the Formula One, and on their nose cones. So when you're watching the onboard of a driver's aspect of looking at the car when he's racing, all I can see is stuff like Peroni 0% beer, and Estrella Galicia, whatever it's called, 0%, and Heineken 0%, all over the billboards. The rugby union, the Six Nations, Guinness 0%, on the middle of the pitch, blasted all over the stands. It's a big concern for me. It's a big concern of like, we may be going into this kind of phase of I mean, you look at cigarettes. I was never a cigarette smoker, but you look at the 1980s where it was all over everything. The cigarettes was sponsoring everything. The Embassy World Championships in the snooker, the Regal Welsh Open, Regal cigarettes. I bet if you spoke about a Regal cigarette to somebody of my daughter's age, they wouldn't know what you were talking about. And my fear is that the TV actually kind of dominates our thoughts and behaviours. Maybe we're being pushed to drink non-alcoholic beer. It certainly seems that way to me. And that's quite scary for me, because you're going to kill the pub culture, you're going to kill all of the breweries. For what? For what? Where are we headed? Where are we blooming headed? And this goes back to the days of Cheers in the 1980s. This is the connection here. You know, there was never a problem to film in a pub back in the 1980s. There was never a problem to, you know, make a TV series that was very successful, that was based around the pub. But then things changed, didn't they? I mean, like Friends come along. Did Friends have an agenda? They were all in the coffee shop, weren't they? Something Perk, Cafe Perk or whatever it's called. And then all of a sudden, then coffee shops sprouted up everywhere. and it was cool to hang around in a coffee shop. Kind of, the TV has a definite dominance on our minds, and it does scare me. So the next step, of course, I just mentioned the next step, that is like non-alcoholic beer advertising. I'm going to fight it as much as I can possibly fight it. I'll carry on reviewing beer as long as it's absolutely feasibly available to me. I have noticed a little dip in 2024. I'm not worried at this stage, but at the same time I'm definitely watching it. I'll go to the end of the earth to buy a beer, me. I will go to the end of the earth to buy a beer. My favourite pastime is sitting in that garden there, or in a beer garden in a pub with the sun on my face drinking a pint. I couldn't think of anything better to do with my time. So thanks very much for watching. Please put your comments in the comments box, subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews, give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom, cheers.